My name is McKelway. I'm the pastor here at the South Lansing campus of Sycamore Creek Church. It's great to see you this morning. We like to start off our services with a little bit of audience interaction. And so today our question is, which is more likely, aliens or Bigfoot?
Aliens.
Shout. Okay, if you think aliens, raise your hand. If you think Bigfoot, all right, it's kind of split evenly. I don't know. I would say maybe aliens. That's probably my guess, just given how big the universe is. Would you stand with me as you're able? We have some songs to sing together this morning.
Wait. Okay.
Describe it, I can't contain it, can't keep it to myself. There aren't enough colors to paint the whole picture, not enough words to ever say what I found. You're wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy, is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. Give him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. There's no one before you. All of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. When the rocks cry without anyone in the chorus, there aren't enough notes to make that harmony. It's the song of the angels, all of the angels. It's all of the earth and heaven's symphony. You are wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy. He is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. Give him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. All of this is for you. Who adore you? Who we talking about? That's my King. That's my King. That's my God. That's my shepherd, my protector. That's my King. That's my rock. That's my anchor, my defender. That's my King. That's my God. That's my shepherd, my protector. That's my King. He's my rock. That's my anchor, my defender. Who you talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. I give him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. I give him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. That's my King. Who we talking about? That's my King. Who we talking about? Who we talking about? Who we talking about? That's my King.
Amen.
Good morning. That one will wake you up if you weren't already.
Truth.
Oh, guys, it has been a week, and I am happy to be here with you, celebrating the goodness of God. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands from the moment I wake up until I lay my head. I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Let's say that one more time. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. All right, you guys can have a seat. And if you're a kid, it's time for Kids Creek.
All right. It's time for Kids Creek. That's really exciting. Joining me this morning is Teresa Miller as my co-host. Everybody say hello to Teresa. All right.
Well,
Yep, go ahead.
go ahead and pull out your connection card. This is our lots of good things on here. Start filling out the front, and a little bit later we're going to refer to some things on the back.
That's right. And then you can take out your phones and snap a selfie. Sometimes I forget to post the selfies that I take, so don't be like me. Go ahead and post your selfie with the hashtag SCCMI. Let your friends know. Let the people, your acquaintances, your Facebook friends know that you are part of a faith community and that they can come and ask you questions about your faith community if they would like to. I want to pause just for a moment in the service and just, sometimes stuff happens in our world and it's hard as a pastor to know when or how to talk about it, to know what is the right thing to say about things. Maybe your social media has been pretty divided in its response to the events of this week. I know mine has. And so I'm not going to try to make a statement about what happened, about the events of this week. I do want to invite us to talk to God about it, though. And so we have this prayer. It's just sort of a prayer that we would be united under Jesus, who is our Prince of Peace. So I'm going to just invite you to take some deep breaths with me, and then I'm going to read this, and if you would like to read it with me, you can. But just let's create some space to talk to God about this. So take some deep breaths. Eternal God, in whose perfect kingdom no sword is drawn but the sword of righteousness, no strength known but the strength of love, so mightily spread abroad your spirit, that all peoples may be gathered under the banner of the Prince of Peace as beloved children of God, to whom be dominion and glory now and forever. Amen. I'm thankful for the reminder that I'm a beloved child of God, and that you're a beloved child of God, and all of our Facebook friends are beloved children of God. I hope that we're all able to live that way this week and today, and that reminder is something that just, seeps down into our souls today. We're going to continue our service and transition into our message. We have a conversation message today. It's video. It's between Pastor Tom from our Eastwood campus and myself. We're continuing our series on paradoxical blessings. And our message this morning, it begins with this.
The Beatitudes are some of the most powerful and lasting words ever spoken. For 2 millennia, they've inspired poets, prophets, mystics, and revolutionaries. But what do they really mean? How have people throughout history understood these paradoxical blessings? And what might they say to us today? Join Sycamore Creek for an 8-week series exploring how the Beatitudes have been interpreted and lived across the centuries. Ancient words, timeless hope, and a world in need of blessing.
So Tom, over the last couple of years, I've had an opportunity to develop relationships with some of the clergy women in Lansing, like the United Methodist clergy. And a couple of weeks ago, I had a group of them over. A couple of them brought their partners, and we had dinner together at my house.
Sounds yummy.
It was fun.
I didn't get invited.
Well, you're not a clergy woman, so it was, we're all kind of the same age, and
there's a lot of new young clergy women in the Lansing region.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So of course I had to go grocery shopping that day, and it also happened to be when we were doing our weekly grocery shopping, and also it was like back to school time, and so I took my daughter and we went to Meijer, and we spent hundreds of dollars. I mean, it was so much.
Grocery shopping for a party and back to school.
Yes, and the week.
And the week.
And the self-checkout line, it nearly killed me. It was like, I was like sweating, when I left, and we walk out the door.
Did you tip yourself in the self-checkout line?
I should have.
You should have.
I did buy myself a succulent and a dinosaur.
Okay.
So that was fun. But we walk out the door, and then I realized, I'm pretty sure one of these people is vegetarian,
and I forgot to buy a vegetarian option.
Okay. Hashtag failed vegetarian party.
I'm like, the thought of like loading all those groceries into the back of my car, walking to the other side of the store, checking out again, and then doing the whole thing was like exhausting.
Yeah. Plus all the frozen stuff.
It was 90 degrees that day, and I was like, this stuff is gonna spoil in the car. So what do? I pick up my phone and I call my husband. And I'm like, hey, here's the situation. And immediately he was like, I gotcha. He's like, I'll go back out and I'll get it. He's a really good guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Better than me.
Better than me, too. I probably wouldn't do that. But I realized, like, I had multiple motivations in that moment.
Okay.
Like, the realistic one, like the one that feels better is that my food was going to spoil.
Yeah.
I couldn't really justify going in and like wasting all that food. On the other hand, it was also, I really did not want to go back in there. And I was just like exhausted thinking about it. And that got me thinking about motivations. And I wonder, Tom, if you have any examples of that where like you had multiple motivations for something?
Yeah, and one seems more pure than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think about that anytime I talk about the church to people in the community, or I invite them to something we're going on. And it's a weird thing working as the pastor for the church, and then also, you know, it's part of my job to do that, to talk to people, to invite them. And so whenever I'm in that mix, I'm thinking, am I inviting them so that I'm successful as a pastor, like that I look successful to the community? Or am I inviting them because of our mission, which is about serving them, about the need for them to encounter God in some kind of environment, some kind of event, and for their faith to be ignited? And the weird thing about that is that the behavior on the outside looks the same, no matter what the inward motivation is, whether it's selfish, ego-driven, or missional and pure. And so the inward work is my work to do, but I have to keep still talking about the church and inviting people to the things that we offer. Yeah.
So we're talking about being pure in heart today. And I think we all struggle with this. Like we all have like multiple motivations for things. And I'm not going to try to convince us, or I'm not going to convince you, and I'm not going to convince us that we all have to get to only one motivation, or even have to know all the time what our motivations are. I think it's a complicated question.
Yeah, they're
and there's
very
not
deep
like,
sometimes, not obvious.
Yeah. But I do think that our motivations matter. And what we're going to find today as we talk about being pure in heart is that it's sort of like having a single-minded motivation, like toward God. So before we get to that, let's pause here for a chat question. When have you had more than one motivation for something, or struggled to identify what your motivation is for something? Take a minute and talk about it.
All right. Hopefully you had some good conversation. Teresa, what came to mind for you with this?
Well, I really struggled with this one, and I guess something I am struggling with right now is to continue my craft business or not. And up until this year, my motivation was I wanted to buy a new fancy sewing machine. And for those that don't know, they cost a lot of money. And even though I would never spend $20,000 on a sewing machine, but they can go that high. And, yeah. Now they do everything but cut the fabric out, but you know. But mine died, and God just blessed me with an incredible deal last year. Way less, about half of what I was saving up to spend. And so this year I've been struggling with, do I want to continue? And this summer I sewed for me instead of being in production mode. And it's like, is it time to give it up? Do I really, I don't need the money, quote unquote, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just really struggling, and yet it's fun to get out of the house and to meet new people and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so like discerning your motivations, but also finding the motivation, like what is it going to drive you either to do the production or not to. What came up for me was sort of similar to what Tom was saying, like sometimes I want to be successful because I want to look successful. I'm sure I'm the only one in the room who ever struggles with that. But one example that came to mind was, I don't know.
Go ahead, it's fine. It's called being honest.
Well, like we had a contest to see who would get the most pre-registrations for Ignite. And like really we did that because I needed to know how many box lunches to order. And it's a lot more fun to say like, hey, we're going to have this contest, which campus is going to win, than it is to say, hey, guys, it would really help me plan. If you would please let me know if you're coming. But then also, we won. So, even like me sharing that story is sort of like double motivation, but that's what happens, right? Like that's like sometimes how it goes. Also, I did want to celebrate, so.
I like this.
I don't know, yeah. This is our nice Ignite trophy.
We should have a fire inside, and that's a great way of doing it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Light the flame.
All right, let's continue on with the message to the next segment.
So today we're continuing in a series called Paradoxical Blessings. It's about 8 weeks. It's in my least favorite part of the Bible, which is the Beatitudes.
Yeah.
I've kind of been dreading getting to this part of this bigger thing that we're doing on the Sermon on the Mount, where we're doing a series on Jesus' most famous teaching. And I like a lot of the Sermon on the Mount, but the Beatitudes always feel like a gut punch to me.
Yeah.
And this particular series, or maybe it's the resource that we're using for it, it's a book called The Beatitudes Through the Ages by Professor Rebecca Eklund. That has been a really helpful book to me because she just explores how each of the Beatitudes has been interpreted over the last 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And that's been a really freeing exercise for me because there's disagreement. There's different ways that Christians have interpreted it. There's not just one right way. In fact, maybe even the way that we generally think about it right now might not be the right way. And we're going to find that that's true with this whole, does it mean to be pure in heart, as we unpack that today. So the actual beatitude that we're diving in today is, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God.
Yeah. So like the main points of this are blessed, pure, heart, and see God.
Okay, 4 parts.
There's 4 parts. But we're going to mess with the order just a little bit and do blessed, heart, pure, God.
Okay.
So just a slight change, but...
Yeah, I assume there's a special twist with that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just the blessed and the heart. Those are going to be really fast. We're going to touch on those really quickly and then spend the bulk of the time on what does purity mean and what does seeing God mean.
Great. All right, so like you said, we're going to do blessed real quick. In the Greek, it's this Greek word makarios, which means fortunate, happy, maybe congratulations or congrats to. And then Jesus puts these weird things with it. It's like things that you wouldn't think you would want to congratulate someone about, or that someone would be fortunate because of this characteristic. That's the paradoxical nature, where two things are put together that don't seem to go together.
Right. So that's blessed. And then heart is the next part. And typically we think of the heart as being the seat of emotions.
Okay.
So for us, the heart is where we feel things. It's like where passion and anger and hurt and fear, like we think of feeling them in our hearts. But that's not really how folks in Jesus' time would have thought about the heart.
Yeah.
Instead, they thought about the heart as being sort of the inner sense of self, like your inner world. It's like the will and desires and your decision-making process. It's like how you arrive at a conclusion.
Yeah.
That's how Jesus probably was thinking about heart in this passage. So pure of heart really meant like purity of your inner self. It's like
kind of all-encompassing.
Yeah, it's a clear understanding of who you are and what you're about.
I think about it in that phrase, like learn it by heart. We sometimes think like rote memorization, but learn it by heart suggests this idea that it gets somewhere deep inside of you, and then when it needs to come out,
like it's integrated.
It's integrated, and it exerts a sort of influence, sometimes that you're not even aware of. All that reminds me of my professor, my Old Testament professor, jump into the different part of the Bible, but my Old Testament professor, Ellen Davis, in seminary, and she would say that the Hebrew word for heart, which is lev, that it's usually translated heart, but it really should be translated as imagination. So like when you look at the world, what do you imagine?
Yeah.
Or when you look at your circumstances, what do you imagine? It's like a vision making or meaning making, like what's in there, and how pure is your imagination? How pure is your vision? How pure do you see things or interact with the world?
I like that.
All right, let's take a breather and let people, imagine an answer to this question. Talk about what it means for the heart to be your sense of self or your imagination as opposed to the seat of emotions. Let's talk about it.
You know, in some ways I think that the heart and any of these kinds of ideas are sort of like, I don't know, we're just imagining in a way like what this is and what this means. So what came to mind for you as we were talking about this?
Well, I did like how we talked about with, instead of saying heart, your imagination. We can imagine things better.
Yeah.
I think some days it's easy to be run by my emotions and not necessarily good emotions.
Yeah.
And trying to imagine things being better instead of leading with hate to lead with love.
Yeah.
Am I good at it? Not always.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been processing a lot over the last couple of years is this idea of like when someone does something and I don't understand it, everybody does this. Our human selves fill in a story about why they might have done something. And I often will go to the least generous interpretation of their actions. They meant to hurt me. Like they're scheming against, I don't try not to, but sometimes those things come up, and then there's the most generous interpretation. Oh, they were having a bad day and it spilled out, or whatever happened, this is just a misunderstanding. And I think that sometimes this imagination that we're talking about could be related to that, like what kinds of stories we fill in about the things that we don't understand.
Give grace instead of judgment.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to mean that we ignore things that are hard or problematic, but maybe we go to someone and say, like, can you help me understand this? Because I don't know how to make sense of what happened, of what that was. So anyways, that's one way that maybe this could work, or could be how the heart is the sense of self or imagination. So we talked about being blessed, we talked about the heart, and now we're going to continue on to think about what it means to be pure in heart.
All right, so we're throwing around this word purity quite a bit, and we probably need to stop and make sure, well, what does that mean? And,
right.
and we're going to learn that there's different interpretations of what it means to be pure. The first one is holiness, or emptiness of sin. And this was an idea that was especially prevalent during the early monastic periods, and it had to do with kind of an extreme asceticism being like this really, really disciplined lifestyle, like not eating a lot.
Like severe self-discipline.
Yes, like Olympics level spirituality. And but it wasn't just focused on the outward expressions of like what you did, but also a really, really significant
inward focus,
a reflection on what's happening inside of you. And an example of this is one particular monk, Chromatius of Aquila.
That was impressive.
Did I get that right?
I have no idea. I would have guessed.
He's Italian, so it probably should be Chromatius of Aquila. Lived at the end of the 4th century, beginning of the 5th. And he imagined this as a kind of stain, like sin was a stain, and it needed to be cleansed out of you. It needed to be wiped away, cleaned. You needed to be cleansed from this stain of sin.
Right, so purity there meant cleansed.
Yeah.
Within this idea of holiness, there were 3 strands, 3 ideas that kind of cropped up, and I just want to quickly touch on them.
Okay, so this is like 3 subpoints to
holiness.
Holiness without sin.
Right. So the first one was sexual purity. We could preach a whole sermon series on this. That is not this series. That is not the sermon.
We probably should, because it's just been...
At some point,
Yeah, it's been so twisted in our culture.
Yeah, we could talk about how it's been weaponized, how it's hurt people, the good things that we still need to kind of pull out of this idea of sexual purity. I'm
still trying to unpack that myself from my background.
Right. But that's not this sermon. So we're just going to acknowledge that it's there. It's part of the history of this interpretation.
Modern interpretation, particularly.
Right. And that's the first strand.
Okay. All right, the second kind of sub-variation of holiness is detachment. Okay. And this wasn't always like just detachment from physical things, but it could be. Sure. It was an inward detachment. And like we get attached to all of these things inwardly. I mean, I even think about like attachment theory. Right. About our relationships, but there was this, what am I attached to? Right. And is God the primary attachment that I have? And a great example of this kind of external and internal is St. Francis of Assisi. I think most people have some familiarity with St. Francis.
If nothing else, there's the center in DeWitt.
Yeah, well, and there's like statues that people put of him like preaching to the birds in their gardens and so on. But he's this 12th century kind of mystic, poetic, really unique character in the history of Christianity. He comes from a very wealthy family. He gets really upset at his dad, who wants him to continue like inherit the business. The family, they were particularly known for like the linens and all of the fabric and so on, and very expensive fabrics. They catered to the wealthy. And that wasn't what he felt God was calling him to. And there was this showdown at one point between his dad and him. And also it happened to be that the bishop was there, and they were in this Italian plaza. This is like the only thing, this wouldn't happen in like Scandinavian countries. It only happens in Italy. St. Francis like renounces his dad's wealth. He strips down naked, butt naked in the plaza. I'm telling you, well, it has to be warm enough. So it's like Mediterranean. And this is like a external expression of his renunciation of attachment to the things of this world. And I love what the bishop does at this moment. He doesn't chastise him for getting naked in the plaza. I mean, they were Italians after all. But he does like take his vestiture, his bishop's robe, and he wraps Francis in it. And it's a kind of way of him saying, you have renounced your family, but you have a new chosen family. And we welcome you, because that's what we're seeking after as well, a soul attachment, a pure attachment, emptiness of everything except this attachment to God.
It's really beautiful. Now, the goal of detachment, as we've been talking about, is to create space in your heart for an experience with God. Because like if you're focused, if you're attached to material possessions or accruing more wealth or something like that, then it sort of clouds your ability to see and experience God. And so the goal is to is detachment from those things to create space.
It's like to empty yourself to fill yourself.
Exactly. Like everything we've talked about in this series, there wasn't total consensus on this. Martin Luther, a German theologian and sort of one of the big movers and shakers of the Protestant Reformation, he really pushed back on this idea that you have to practice severe self-discipline in order to experience God. Like, you don't have to be a spiritual giant, you don't have to be in the spiritual Olympics to be able to have this kind of experience with God.
It's a good corrective, I think.
I think so too. And Rebecca Eklund, she notes on this, she comments, any interpretation that fences off the Beatitudes reward and makes it available only to a few has gone astray. Yet its core insight holds true, that a heart or mind clouded with fear or roiled with rage is less likely to see past its own preoccupations and enter into God's presence. I really appreciate this nuance that she's bringing. Like, yes, the detachment helps us experience God, but you don't have to be a certain kind of way. I can remember when I was a young mom, like when I had young kids, and they needed things all the time. And
it's just like human nature.
And every time I had in my mind that I needed to have a quiet time with like reading my Bible and having my journal, and the best time to do that was in the morning. And I'm telling you, every time I made an effort to wake up early before my kids to have this time, they woke up earlier. Every single time. And it was really hard. Like, I wrestled with some guilt. I was like, I should be doing this. I'm not doing enough. I'm not fostering my relationship with God. And then there was like a shift to finding moments with God throughout the day and letting my posture, like just my heart orientation, be toward God, and letting that be enough. And I feel like that's kind of what we're talking about here. You don't have to be a spiritual giant to have an experience with God.
I've heard it described parenting as a spiritual practice itself. All the little things that add up to parenting. All right, so this third one is one of my favorites, because it's just an area that I've gone really deep into. And it's the idea that holiness is perfecting our love. It's perfected love. Amanda Berry Smith was a preacher, a revival preacher during the mid to late 1800s and early 1900s. She was AME, African Methodist Episcopal. This is part of our tradition of Methodists.
Yeah.
AME started when the Methodist Episcopal Church wouldn't let black people be in the kind of ground floor area. And so they left and started their own church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And she preached around at revivals and camp meetings and tent meetings. And she preached about having this perfected love, or this perfect love, where your inward motivation was drawn entirely to God.
Okay.
And it was a gift that was given. It wasn't something that you earned. It wasn't something, I mean, you did put yourself in place,